Hello, welcome back to the summit, our Hormones and Mental Health Summit, Overcoming Anxiety, Depression, and ADHD in Women. I'm your co host, Dr. Sharon Stills, and I'm super excited today because one of our sponsors is here with me, and we're going to be talking about some of my favorite things transcranial photobiomodulation. PBM is a lot easier, but it's something, they're actually a company whose helmets I have waiting to be installed in my new clinic as part of our communal healing area. And so I was super excited when they wanted to support what we're doing here because their units are very applicable if you are dealing with anxiety, depression, ADHD, any kind of brain inflammation, brain fog. And so, if you've never heard of transcranial photobiomodulation, quite the mouthful, by the end of the next 30 minutes, you'll be a little mini expert on it and see how this could be part of your healing journey. So, very excited for you all to be here. I'm very excited for my guest, Brooke, who is from Neuronic, who again is one of our sponsors. And I always say this, but it is 3000% true. Without our sponsors, we couldn't put on these summits for you. And so it's thanks to people like Brooke and her company who understand the power of giving you all this free information to help you on your journey. And so we just say thank you. We bow to you and say thank you for sponsoring our summit. And so who is Brooke? Brooke is the consultation and research team coordinator at Neuronic, where she leads a research team dedicated to advancing Neuronic's efforts in client consultations, obviously research, clinical integration, and customer success. She's a certified light therapist, and she has also completed advanced health coaching certifications, including Epidemic Answers and Apollo Recode 2.0. She has experience in complex health conditions such as Lyme, PANS and PANDAS, mold illness, digestive disorders, and she educates individuals on integrating light therapy with broader health strategies. And if you know me at all, you know I'm obsessed with light therapy and how light heals. At Neuronic, the entire team is committed to empowering individuals and practitioners to harness the potential of photobiomodulation to improve both mental and physical health. Neuronic also strives to advance the photobiomodulation industry through innovative research, which is what I love about you guys, delivering effective solutions to help clients maintain optimal brain capacity at all stages of life. So, thank you. Welcome to the summit, Brooke. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I light to me is some of the most powerful ways we heal. And I love to wear my helmet. I'm not dealing with anxiety or depression or brain fog, but I wear it for prevention, right? Like just to keep the juices flowing and the inflammation down and the lymphatic moving. And so I guess let's just start because I'm sure there is a lot of women listening because transcranial photobiomodulation is not a household word, right? Like I think red light therapy is becoming pretty well known, but I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who don't know what that is. So if you could just start by explaining what that is and how does it work? Why is this so important for brain health?
Oh, of course. So I'll just call it tPBM for short, but the word photobiomodulation, it just means the effect of light on the body through cellular processes, primarily photochemical, but researchers are also exploring potential energetic and quantum mechanisms. And tPBM is a therapy. It uses light, usually red or near infrared wavelengths, and these stimulate your brain cells. So the light activates cytochrome C oxidase. It's in the mitochondria, and this is part of the electron transport chain. Just absorbing light energy leads to increased mitochondrial metabolism. So basically, it's increasing your ATP production. And this means there's more energy in your brain so you can function better. And that when that happens, your mood improves, your focus improves, memory could improve too. So it also reduces oxidative stress by triggering the release of antioxidants that can protect your cells. And other benefits include improved blood flow and reduced inflammation. And there are studies showing that it can modulate cytokines. So it can reduce pro inflammatory cytokines and increase the anti inflammatory cytokines. So TBM also produces or increases neuroplasticity, which we all need. That just basically means that it's helping your brain grow new connections. And for some conditions like ADHD and anxiety, this could translate into improved focus or emotional regulation.
Wow, that's a lot of good stuff. So let's break it down a little. So let's do anxiety first. What do you see with women who are dealing with anxiety using and maybe just explain like what the helmet is. Like I say helmet, like it's not a football helmet.
Oh, I can show you one. I've got one right here. This is the Noridian 1070. It is like a bicycle helmet. It just pops on like this, and it's got different foam pads, adjustable foam pads you could make to fit your head, so thinner ones or thicker ones. And inside, it has red indicator lights just to show you that it's turned on, but normally you can't see any of the other lights. It's just reflecting the red light right now. It comes with a controller like that. And we also have a new device. This one is called the Light, and it does not have a controller. It works with the app on your mobile phone if you choose. You don't have to. You can simply press this button here for a quick start. And inside this is different. It has an adjuster with a little dial, and you can adjust to the size of your head. And if you want to see that the lights are working, you could either purchase a near infrared light filter that goes onto your iPhone, or some of the older iPhone models have the ability to see infrared light, or the front-facing camera of your iPhone also might show you the lights, and it's kind of a purpley red hue that you're looking for. And because of the curvature of the device, it can also be used on rounded joints, elbows, knees, and shoulders.
That's such a good reminder. I forget you can do it on joints, and I've never put a helmet on my face.
Most people who use light therapy for skin use the red light wavelengths, which are around 630 to 650 nanometers. Having said that, we do have a Trustpilot review from a clinician. She only used it on her head, but she said that she had a dent on her nose from a septal hematoma, and that went away by using our device. So our theory is that it's increased the blood flow and has helped the healing of the tissue.
And could you speak to why you're using it on joints?
Oh, some people just don't have any other light therapy devices and they just ask, "Oh, can I use it for arthritis?" And we've had clients who've only used it on their head and the arthritis in their hands have improved via the systemic effect of PPM. But we've also had some people who just like to put their hands in the helmet very just directly for the local effect. And others have put their pet's paws in the helmet as well.
I just wear my helmet like in bed and I read while I'm wearing it. Um, so it's just
That's nice.
something that's really easy to do. Back on track. So we were talking about anxiety. So I wanted you to see it because if you're anxious and you hear helmet, it could sound claustrophobic. So I wanted you to see that actually looks very cute, and it's not a claustrophobic experience at all. But
No.
what have you noticed around women who are having anxiety perimenopausal, menopausally, or just anxiety in general? How this has really helped? And could you speak also about the wavelength because there's different options out there and you have a specific wavelength. And so if you could speak to why you have the wavelength that you do.
Yes, the 1070 wavelength is longer than the other wavelengths in the market. So the ones most commonly seen are and researched are the 810 and 850 nanometer wavelength. But we find the 1070 more effective, and research studies have shown that it does penetrate further and deeper into the brain. So it could be reaching areas such as the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus, which are really important for memory, mood, and focus. And you can't be precise because the penetration depth really depends on unique factors like your skull density or the thickness of your hair. But the longer the wavelength, there's also less scattering because there's less absorption as it passes through different biological tissues. So it doesn't interact with water as much as the other wavelengths or with hemoglobin and other cellular components. So it penetrates further, and that's why we like the 1070 wavelength. Oh, and as far as anxiety, there are studies showing that the tPBM can calm overactivation in the amygdala, which is your brain's fear center, but it can also provide energy to the prefrontal cortex and just kind of create a sense of calm. And so if you think about it, I guess the brain, when it's under stress, whether physical or emotional, the energy is being diverted to defense. And it just leaves less available energy for your typical daily maintenance and repair functions. So over time, this drain, really can impair the brain's ability to manage either inflammation, carrying out like essential daily cellular processes, maybe maintaining the myelin sheath. And it if you use the photobiomodulation, it can help activate mitochondria to produce more ATP. And then you can restore some of the brain's energy, and then it can start to work on those other issues. So it can help repair tissue, improve inflammation, and just be more efficient. And currently, we have a case series right now using our device. It's a 3-month study, and they're halfway through it with, I think, a couple of the people, not quite with another one. And they're evaluating the efficacy of tPBM for anxiety, depression, and panic attacks in women. And right now, at least 2 of the subjects have gotten halfway, and they have shown over 60% improvement in anxiety measured on several different questionnaires. But there is a study that's been published showing significant reductions in anxiety in, I believe, 2 weeks. And the reference should be on our science page of Neuronic's website. They measured using the Hamilton anxiety scores, and they showed that it reduced their levels about 63% of the levels of anxiety.
So 2 weeks, is that every day? Is that all day long every day? Because that's pretty quick.
Well, the dosage, it really depends on the individual and, of course, the root causes for the anxiety. So typically, most people see results in about 2 to 4 weeks. There are some people who might need more time to see improvements, and this is why the company offers a 3-month return window, so it gives you enough time to try the technology. But on average, 2 to 4 weeks is the norm. There was a client with depression who after a couple of weeks, I can't remember how many, but she had depression, and the tPBM lifted like a veil of depression is how she described it. It lifted the veil enough for her to function. It didn't clear the depression, but it made everything more tolerable. And so she could go out and do more things, and she had motivation to do just regular tasks.
That at 15 minutes a day or 3 hours a day, or how long?
I can give you a guideline, but everybody's different. So maybe a target goal for an average person might be 15 minutes twice a day. But we do have sensitive clients and they might use it 1 or 2 minutes a day. But then we have other people who use it 30 minutes twice a day. So it really depends. If you're a person who's really sensitive to maybe pharmaceuticals or changes in the weather, those clients would typically start lower and just gradually increase. So if you're not that sensitive, you can just use our preset protocols. They range from 3 minutes to 10 minutes on our controller of the Noridian 1070, but also on the app. We have the same preset programs there for the Neuronic light. And you could start with one of those programs and work your way up to do it twice a day. But the key is just to gradually increase every few days. And overstimulation is rare, but just like anything, you could do too much, just like overdoing it at the gym. So you may have heard the biphasic dose response, and that's a dose response relationship. So too little light stimulation may not show any results. And then on the other hand, too much light might lead to signs of overstimulation. So it doesn't happen very often, but you would want to watch out for things like fatigue, congestion, maybe a mild headache, and that would just pass in a few hours. But we maybe see this in less than 1% of our clients. And typically it's prevented by being well hydrated. So we always recommend drinking a glass of water before each session.
Is there anyone that this would be contraindicated for?
Yeah, if you have any metal plates, implanted stimulation devices, metal objects in the brain, cancer, malignant tissue, active carcinoma, brain tumors, medications causing light sensitivity, open wounds on the head, or pregnancy, and certain hyperthyroid conditions. And it's not to say that you can't use it in some of those conditions, but we strongly encourage you to speak to a medical professional. So, for example, for metals, we can't say all metals are contraindicated because titanium is fine. And it really depends on the potential that the metal could heat up. So, and for hyperthyroid, we list it because research suggests they can stimulate thyroid activity. And so, if you're a person with hyperthyroid condition, then you wouldn't want that. We recommend you speak to your doctor about it. And with cancer, we've seen studies showing that light therapy can improve the immune response, but there's also potential that it could increase blood flow to a tumor. So we recommend not to use a device with a brain tumor, but or speak to your practitioner first.
With just brain cancer or tumor anywhere?
Well, potentially tumor anywhere due to the systemic effect of PBM. We would just err on the side of caution and ask the client to speak to a medical professional.
You said that it can upregulate thyroid hormones, so we know that low thyroid hormone can be an and is often a leading cause of depression and anxiety. So, do you have any studies? Do you have any experience with women using because a lot of times women say, "Do I have to take thyroid hormone forever?" So, do you have any experience with using the helmet to upregulate and maintain thyroid hormone where maybe they can lower their dose or go off of it?
I haven't seen any long-term study showing that people can lower or stop thyroid medication with tPBM alone. There are some small studies where the thyroid markers like TSH or T3 have improved in serum labs after treatment, but we don't really know how long those improvements last or whether the subjects continued using tPBM after the study ended. And the mechanism makes sense that the PBM can support mitochondrial function. It enhances blood flow to the thyroid gland and it could reduce local inflammation. So, in theory, it could support thyroid hormone production naturally, but I'd love to see more research in this area. I'd be happy to look into it to see if there are any updates, but at the moment, I haven't seen any published study that supports this.
And what about another big concern is insomnia? So how does the helmet help? Because I know a lot of women listening are dealing with insomnia. Always at perimenopause, menopause is very common.
Yes, sleep is one of the most common improvements we hear from clients, regardless of what they originally came to us for. So someone might be using the device for memory or focus, but they'll report, "Well, I haven't noticed a big change in focus, but I have my sleep is so much better. I've noticed." Um, and so when it comes to insomnia specifically, we've seen a mix of people. Some struggle with falling asleep, some struggle with staying asleep or waking up frequently. So, in terms of mechanisms, studies have shown that TPM can increase melatonin production, and that supports the onset of sleep. But beyond that, we just at Neuronic believe a big reason might be because it's helping to balance the brainwave activity. We've seen QEEG brain maps in some of our clients, and we try to identify patterns. And well, QEEG, a quantitative EEG, it's a tool that measures the brain's electrical activity using electrodes over the brain with like a gel, conductive gel, and it creates with the software a visual map of the brain, and it can show where activity might be too high or too low, or areas where it's underpowered, or different levels of connectivity. And while we haven't seen a specific pattern, we do often see the dysregulation improve over time. So whatever's dysregulated becomes balanced. And some clients who track progress are also using their Aura Ring or the Whoop strap. And so we get subjective feedback, but also quantifiable data, like the deep sleep is improved or the HRV is improved. And so that just measurable improvement really helps them see what's changing.
Yeah, I wear an Oura
Ah.
ring, and I had never heard of the Whoop, and now you're the second person in the last 2 hours that has mentioned the Whoop to me. I just had a patient talk about her Whoop. I was like, "Whoop what?" So now I gotta go look up the Whoop because I don't know about the Whoop, but I've been wearing an Oura ring forever. I also wanna ask about just memory, dementia, prevention of Alzheimer's. This is a big, a lot of women in their 50s, 40s, they see their mom, it's very, go through dementia and they want to make sure that doesn't happen to them. So how does this play a role in prevention?
Absolutely. This is such an important topic. What's exciting about transcranial photobiomodulation, it supports memory on multiple levels. It can work by stimulating brain cells, improving the blood flow, boosting mitochondrial function, just giving your brain more energy. And it's not just your day-to-day focus and thinking. It's just also for your long-term repair and resilience. So we mentioned before neuroplasticity and increasing those connectivities, those connections, and that can help prevent cognitive decline. But there's research backing this up. Journals like Neurobiology of Aging, the Journal of Neuroscience Research, and the Journal of Biophotonics. Those are just a few of the studies that have published. They've published studies both on LED and lasers and how much PBM can improve memory-related outcomes. So by increasing the blood flow, there are different types of dementia. So vascular dementia, that's linked to impaired circulation in the brain, and um, also tPBM can modulate hormones involved in cognitive health. So insulin, cortisol, melatonin, and insulin resistance is sometimes referred to as type 3 diabetes in the context of Alzheimer's. So in improving insulin sensitivity could help protect the brain from neurodegenerative changes. And in all animal studies, there's specifically mouse models of Alzheimer's. They showed that near-infrared light could reduce beta amyloid plaque. So while more human studies are needed, these findings are really encouraging. And the effects really depend on the stage someone's at. So someone is in an advanced stage of cognitive decline, the TPBM isn't going to be a quick fix. It's more about slowing the progression and supporting quality of life. But for anyone in the earlier stages or just looking at prevention, this is really where this technology is powerful. And Neuronic is involved in a clinical trial. We're working with subjects with mild cognitive impairment or early onset Alzheimer's, and we'll be looking at changes in memory, executive function, mood, and overall cognitive performance. Many of our clients use an online tool called Cognifit, and Cognifit can measure cognitive function across like 20 or 25 different areas. And it breaks it down even into the different types of memory. So short-term memory, contextual memory, nonverbal memory, and there's some other categories too. But what's really interesting is after 3 months, we ask them to repeat the test, and it's so many people are showing significant improvements when they retake this. And it's after about 3 months of using the device. And even without formal testing, we're getting great stories. So an example is there was a client in her 80s, and she could now remember all the names of her classmates from first grade. So to answer your question, yes, we're seeing tPBM offer real support for memory and brain health, especially when used consistently and proactively. There is a difference when somebody's using it every day or 4 times a week than if somebody were to use it 1 time a week. So the consistency and frequency and duration they're all important parts.
I feel like these should be in every nursing home, every old age facility. And what about ADHD? Um, what do you notice with ADHD, or do you have anything that you've done work with people on the spectrum?
Yes, we have seen some really promising results in clients with ADHD and those on the spectrum. So, ADHD, of course, can stem from a variety of causes. So, neurotransmitter imbalances, inflammation, disruptions in the brain network connectivity. But what we see is the tPBM can help restore balance and support the brain's energy systems. As far as publications go, there are several publications showing, or several clinical trials showing that stimulating the right prefrontal cortex in particular, that can improve attention and executive function. And there have been about 3 clinical trials, and they're really encouraging. They've shown improvements in focus, mood, and sleep-wake cycles, and also performance on neuropsychological tests. We're really excited because there's a study recently launched outside of Philadelphia, and they're using our device with and without virtual reality to explore the effects on ADHD. So we're looking forward to that. And in some of our client bases, there's been at least two I can think off the top of my head who one has both have been able to get off their medicines for ADHD. So one has been using the device for 8 months, and the other combined tPBM and SW Loretta neurofeedback, and he was able to get off his meds too. So for anyone who's not familiar, neurofeedback is a technique. It uses electrodes with gel, conductive gel on the scalp to monitor brainwave activity as a person is actively watching something or listening to sounds, and the brain will get rewarded like in real time, so it can learn new patterns. So what we're seeing, and the theory is that the brain if you do the tPBM first, your brain will have the energy to then use the training and the neurofeedback. And so you'll get gains faster or they will last longer. And so a lot of neurofeedback clinicians will say that their clients need like half the amount of sessions to see the same results. Oh, we also have a great video on our YouTube channel by Roger Lee. He's a clinician who shares how he's used the combination approach of the neurofeedback and tPBM to support children with autism. And the results are really powerful. He walks through several cases.
Are there any other, you said neurofeedback, are there any other combination therapies that you see work really well with the helmet?
Definitely, we have. There is a clinic that pairs TBM with hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT, and they've reported remarkable results, especially in clients with traumatic brain injuries or head injuries, and some with memory concerns too. So the way we explain it is that TPBM primes the brain by energizing the cells and improves the mitochondrial function and increases blood flow. So when you follow it by HBOT, the brain is better prepared to use the increased oxygen more efficiently. It's like giving the brain both the tools and the fuel it needs to heal. So it just improves the cellular repair and overall brain function.
So we do at our new clinic, which will be opening in September, we're not doing hyperbaric, we're doing oxygen bathtub. It's a much
Oh,
say actually a more profound way to get oxygen perfused into a person, and it's much more enjoyable.
wow.
So we're gonna have the helmets and then put people into the bathtub.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I just think this one little helmet has so much potential because our brain is so important. And so, what are some options as we're winding up? Like, how can do you, because what I really love about you guys, I mean, I love your product, but I love like you're very research orientated, you're very educational orientated. And I think that's really important to really move this field forward. So, for women who are interested in learning more or like, I'm on board, I want my own helmet, where can they learn more?
Yeah, you can go to our website at neuronic.online. And for anyone who wants to go a bit deeper into PBM, we're giving away our masterclass free to listeners. You just need to use the code Dr. Stills. And if you're interested in trying any of our helmets, then we're also offering a discount code. It's Dr. Stills 100. But even if you don't purchase our device, just want to learn a bit more about how light impacts your brain, it might really transform your approach to health. And you can also visit our website to subscribe to our newsletter, and that will help you stay updated on the latest research and events. And we just love for you to be part of our growing community. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can find a lot of videos there. We even have a video from our research coordinator. She specifically covers the studies that describe the effects of TPBM on anxiety, ADHD, and depression. And I think that might be really helpful for your listeners.
Awesome. Well, there's lots to check out. So go to Neuronic, Neuronic dot online, not dot com. Um, this is, a really important tool, whether you are struggling with mental health issues or here because you want to prevent them or because a family member has them. It's non-invasive. It has profound effects on so many levels. And so I'm excited. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm trying to figure out how like in the olden days when you used to go to the salon and you would like sit down and the helmet would come over to get your perm. That's what I wanna have. I wanna have chairs with the helmet attached, and it just comes over instead of getting your toxic perm, you're getting healing and light for your brain, so we'll be doing that at Lasting Wellness Center. Go to neuronic.online, check out their YouTube. I didn't realize you had a YouTube. I'm gonna go check that out, and thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a pioneer and bringing this really important modality. I often say not all medicine comes in a pill bottle, and it certainly doesn't. These helmets are profound. You can take lion's mane, you can take some things, and I'm not saying not to, but putting a helmet on your head is going to be such a lever puller more than just taking a supplement or an herb or do both together. So, thank you again, Brooke. It was lovely to meet you. This is my first time meeting you. Thank you for sponsoring. Thank you, everyone, for being here and literally open your minds to new ways of healing. So, we'll be back with another talk. We'll see you then.
Thank you.